Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I talk all about the energy, the Qi, the life force in all different ways. And today is a bit different. I was invited to go and give a presentation for the senior physiotherapists in the Stroke Rehabilitation Unit in Northwick Park Hospital, a hospital here in London. And I was invited by Samantha, who you see she's introducing me at the beginning, a lovely lady, senior consultant physiotherapist for the acute rehabilitation of stroke victims. And this all comes about because of my friend Howard, who suffered a stroke last year, and we've been working together training, and I've been helping him try to recover from his stroke. But of course he's done it himself. He's really had nearly a complete recovery in a space of a year. Quite incredible. So Howard is there with me. He talks a little bit about his experience as well. So please do have a listen through to the talk I gave it's probably about 10 physiotherapists there, but they're not on camera. I kept them off camera. So have a listen to what I'm saying in this talk. I hope it's useful to you, especially if you are a stroke victim or a physiotherapist. There should be some interesting information in there for you. Some exercises, simple exercises that you can all do if you're a stroke victim or if you're a physiotherapist. So without further ado, have a look at the video and do let me know any questions or comments below.
So welcome. We want to welcome to our senior teaching this morning Toby from the John Jacobs studio, and this is Howard, who's a stroke survivor, and they're going to be talking to us this morning about training and Eastern philosophy and energy and recovery from stroke. Yes. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Right, well, let me start. Let me just do that. I'll tell you. So first of all, we've got Howard here. So he's a practical example. So we were training before it happened to him. So we trained quite a few years together. So I knew him before he had the stroke, and I know him after the stroke. So he's now, what is it, 1 year?
Exactly.
1 year. So to me, he's made an incredible recovery. But there's another story. Another friend of mine just had a stroke just before Christmas. Only 47. Again, a severe stroke. He lost his vision and everything. But that guy is pretty much 100%. He's come back. You know, nothing I could see. When I saw him the other day, you know, he made hands like that, left side, right side. I couldn't tell any difference. So he pretty much picked himself up. Now, it's quite interesting. See, what happened to that guy, immediately as he had the stroke, he sort of went into denial. So, no, this is not happening to me. But in a way, what it meant is his mind, he refused to let it happen. So he still, you know, he's lost his paralysis on one side, but he was determined to try and get it to work. He's like, no, this is not happening, it's not happening. So when they were coming to evaluate him, the ambulance, he was sort of already practicing, trying to get his arm to go up. So he could already get to the stage where he could sort of do that. So yeah, it's not happening, it's not happening. But I think that's quite an interesting thing, because what you've got here is the mind-body connection. There's something happening. His mind was not accepting it, so his mind is still trying to make his body work. And of course, when he got there, he said, well, show me what you can do. Lift the hands up, you can nearly do it. Then they said, well, turn your wrist over. Now he couldn't do it. So he sort of had to accept it. But from that point, at that very beginning, he never gave up, and he's always trying to get himself together. And now in less than a month or 2 months, that guy is pretty much back to normal. Quite incredible. And Howard here has worked hard for a year, but now to me, he's pretty much back to normal. What is interesting in the training that we do, I'm talking about relaxation. And when you have relaxation, it allows energy to flow through your body. So before he had his stroke, there's quite a lot of tension. We're trying to get to relax. But after the stroke, of course, one side of his body is quite relaxed. So in some respects, he's learnt some interesting skills, even on the bad side of his body. He's learnt how to relax because it has to be relaxed. And that's an interesting thing to do. Now, let's give you another little example. Do you remember that movie Kill Bill? So Uma Thurman's in a coma. She wakes up from the coma and she goes to the car and she's trying to move her legs. They're paralyzed. And she's just going to her toe, move your big toe, move your big toe. It's like she's trying to bypass the brain-body connection and go straight to the toe. And that's what the Eastern philosophies are all about. They believe in the Qi energy. There's a sort of mysterious force, a life force. So we don't recognize that in modern science. It's something a little bit mysterious. But it's essentially the idea that the mind and the brain are still two separate things. So you're dealing with a brain-body connection, you're trying to fix this connection. Because if you think about it, the body's all right. There's no broken bones, the muscles are still working. You just haven't got the connection between the brain and the body. There's something in the nerves. And the nerves, of course, electricity is an electrical thing that passes through the body. But the brain and the mind can also be two separate things. So again, this is where we're talking about Eastern philosophy, the soul, spirit. There's something outside even the body. And if you can access that, now you're going to another level beyond the brain. So in a way, this is a sort of philosophical, it's the Eastern idea, but I don't know how you felt about acupuncture. Have you guys ever dealt with acupuncture in stroke recovery out of interest? No. So again, I haven't done any of that, but I have a theory that acupuncture should be very interesting. If you ever find anyone on acupuncture, just have a little see what they say. Because it's to do with the flow of energy. And although it's mysterious energy, there's also electricity. You know, it goes with the nerve lines. So electricity is not mysterious, we've got connections. So you're helping to build the actual flow of electricity through the body. But going back to this idea of Uma Thurman, the mind is overpowering the body and going direct to the actual part of the body. You're not going between the brain sends a signal to the body, then the body has to move, you're trying to go straight to it to get it to move. And there's another way I could explain this. You see, okay, we know it's got to be electrical. The brain has got to send an electrical signal to the muscle to make it work. We know that. It's got to be electrical. The muscles work through electricity because you know these pads that you squeeze. You know the electrical pads to train your body. It's literally an electric shock will activate the muscle. But you do that yourself. The electricity is coming from inside your body to activate the muscle. Now, is it coming from your brain? Your brain is sending the signal to the muscle, but is there enough electricity in the brain to actually power the muscle? Not quite, it's not there. In the Eastern philosophy, they believe there's energy in your belly. So you build up a store of energy in your belly, and the actual power to the muscle comes from your belly. It's not coming from the brain. So the brain sends the signal to the belly to get the electricity to go to the muscle. Now, if the brain-body connection is, damaged, is there a way you can go straight from the belly to the body? That's the whole training of Qi. That's the whole idea of it. And you can look at it this way. If there's not enough electricity in the brain to power the muscle, it has to come from somewhere. It's got to come from the battery. So the brain will send a signal to the belly to send the electricity to the muscle. Two things going on. And another way you can look at it is this. You've got two brains. I don't know if you've heard this. There's a second brain in the gut. Have you heard that, anyone? Have you heard that? So, well, now they say there's four brains. I don't know if you know that. There's a brain in the brain, a brain in the gut. Your heart also operates like another brain. And now the fourth brain is the microbiome. That's what people are saying now. There's all that is going together, works like an actual brain. But if this brain is damaged, the second brain is not. So is there a way you can activate the second brain to go directly to activate the body? And that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what we're trying to work on in our training anyway. So how do we do that? Well, I think the easiest way to do it is a little experiment. You could try it all with me now. Look, you're sitting down. Let's sit down as well. If you just hold your hands like this in front of you, so they're both equal, you just relax your hands completely. You mustn't do anything, just relax them. Now, choose your right hand. I want you to stare at it. You stare at your right hand. You're still relaxed, but you're staring at it, and you try to focus on that hand. You try to feel it, but you mustn't do anything. Don't activate any muscles. You're just staring at it. You're still relaxed. You're just feeling it. Keep concentrating just on that hand. You mustn't do anything. Now stop for a second, just feel both your hands. Do you feel a difference? You should feel a very slight difference in that hand compared to that hand. Do you notice it? Now, what happened? Something has happened, you're feeling something, the blood flow, there's going to be a little bit more blood flow. You can experiment with this in such a way that when you look at them, you'll see one has gone a little bit redder. And just to prove it to you, relax them again and shake them out. Now stare at the left hand. Again, you mustn't do anything. You just stare at it. You try to feel inside the hand. You've got to feel it. right to the fingertips. You stare at it, your mind goes there. All the attention is on the left hand. There's nothing on the right hand. And then stop for a second. You feel a very slight difference. Can you feel that? So that already tells you, look, they're both identical. Both, if I had one up and one down, you might say, well, the blood flow has changed. But they're both identical. The only thing you've done is used your mind to affect your body. So this is what Uma Thurman was essentially doing. And this is how we can do it. But again, it requires the idea that the mind is something a bit different, it's something metaphysical, and it's outside the brain. So you're bypassing the brain and going straight to the body. And in fact, what you're doing is activating the energy in the body from your belly. So you can actually work on that and feel the energy building up, the electricity building up. Let's try this one more time. Okay, this is a bit more harder. Now, again, hold the hands up like this. So go back to the right hand. Now, what you've got to do, I'll just show you one hand just to tell you, but your hand is relaxed, but now you must focus on one finger, the first finger. And what you've got to do is try to move that finger, but you're not allowed to move it. You mustn't move it, you just stare at it. You stare at it. Imagine that something is happening, you're feeling it. It's like the finger is inflating, like a balloon. Just stare at it, you're not allowed to move it, but with a bit of practice, sometimes you'll feel it just twitch. But you have to focus. Your mind must focus into the finger. You're not allowed to use your nervous system. You're not allowed to use your brain. It's direct control of the mind. It's like you're filling it up with blood, you're filling it up with energy. And at some point, sometimes, you'll just, it opens up, it moves. But you have not done anything to move it. Any of you notice anything? Again, it might take some time. But even then, okay, relax for a second, but you can see, can you feel a little bit more going on in that one finger? You've literally focused your mind in there, so the blood flow is going to go there, something is going there, but it's not the brain-body connection, it's a direct control of the body. And that is the whole basis of this Eastern philosophy, the basis of Qi, Tai Chi, martial arts. The whole point is you're trying to feel energy. So you're not actually using your brain so much, you're letting the body move all by itself. So they will have a thing called spontaneous movement, it's just moving. But you're not consciously moving, it's like your body just sort of floating, moving around. We can try that as well. Let's have a little, if you don't mind standing up. Not difficult, ever so easy. All you're going to do is this, the hands float up and then sink down. Now again, this is a very practical exercise you can do with your patients. You can judge them in terms of the balance of their hands, but you're not getting them to work, you're actually getting them to relax and try and bring the mind into the body. So all you're doing is the hands float up and the hands sink down. So there's a certain amount of work, but what you've got to do is less and less and less work. You try to relax more and more and more. And it's like your hands are moving through water. You just relax and they float, they're floating up. You have to use your mind, you feel inside, imagine they're getting lifting up, and then they're sinking down. And there's a slight crossover point when you're working and then suddenly you realise, they're floating, I haven't done any work, what happened? It's smooth and easy, you haven't got enough space there. But you got the idea. So this is a very simple Tai Chi, they all have this exercise. It's a very easy thing you can do with everyone. But you're not teaching them an exercise so much as a mind-body connection. You're just feeling energy go up, energy go down. Any of you notice it out of interest? It might not be enough time. They do seem to be floating quite nicely. Yeah, do you feel it, what I'm saying? It just floats up. If you're in water, the arms float up in water. So you can practice in a swimming pool. I don't know if do you do that aquatherapy as well with them? Do you ever do that, or is that too risky for stroke patients? You do. See, I do it as well. I would do the practice myself in the water because they float up. But I think this is the most important message in this whole thing. It's about concentrating your mind. It's not just about doing an exercise. You have to engage your mind with the body. That is the key to fixing the problem. It's like you're reteaching the brain to grow the connection. The connection might not be there, whatever's happened, but because you're focusing directly on the body, it's like you're rebuilding the connection. You're using the mind, which, whether you believe it or not, could be outside the brain, nothing to do with the brain. The mind is everywhere in the whole body. And you can feel it. I mean, look, like I said, we're staring at a hand. You can feel the very tip of your finger. It's nearly like your mind has gone to this point. Because it's a feeling. The mind is a sensation. You're actually experiencing something. Most of us don't. We're oblivious to our body. You know, you bump your toe, you don't feel it. But with a certain amount of training, you've got an awareness and you feel every little thing. But how do you get that awareness? It comes from feeling, not thinking. So that is the main approach. Let's try one other little thing for the legs. So it's the same business. Just loosen up your legs for a second. All you want you to do is lift up onto one leg so that other leg can come in the air. Then you go to this leg and lift one leg up to go into the air. But what you're trying to do is relax. The leg that goes into the air, you're trying to let that go dead. It's just relaxed, relax. Then when your weight goes on it, of course you can feel it, but now the other one, it goes empty. Think of it like this. When there's relaxation, it's like your body's gone empty. You can feel just a flow of energy. When there's tension, it's like the electricity is sort of locked there, the muscles are held tight, and that feels more like it's full. So because you've got a stroke, you've got one side is sort of gone empty, one side is still full. But, like I said, in this training, ironically, relaxation is part of the training. So you could actually say, you know, poor old Howard here, half of his body has reached master level of total relaxation. And that part of his body, he can teach the side that's still got tension. So it's a positive spin on it, put it that way. But I don't know if you can feel it now just in the legs. The same thing we felt in our hands. When the leg is relaxed, you try and let your mind go into it. It's relaxed. Nothing is there, but you feel inside it. You feel inside it. So you're not using the brain to do anything. You're not tensing any muscles, but you're sending your mind to try and feel inside the leg. It's like you're filling it up. So again, it's all a little bit philosophical. But when you feel it, you can't help feeling it. You can feel, okay, it's relaxed. And each time it gets more and more relaxed, but as it gets relaxed, it fills up with that relaxation. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. You can sit down again if you like now. Did any of you feel that a little bit? One leg is different. Legs is a bit harder, because the legs have always got tension. They've always got a certain amount of tension. And the other one I do with Howard a lot is, if you can stand on a step so one leg is free, you swing one leg like this. You just swing it, swing it, swing it. So what you're doing, again, you're doing physiotherapy. You're not getting them to tense the muscles. There's no tension, and that's a different side of it. But you're trying to get them to focus their mind into the leg and feel it relaxed, feel it relaxed. So the energy goes in, and that in itself is doing something. So you can think of it as a complementary to, you know, physical exercises, whatever you've got to do. And of course, they're already relaxed. So in a way, what you're doing is trying to get them to feel inside that relaxation again. They've lost control, the connection is not there, but you're trying to teach them to get back in to feel it again. Like my friend who, like I said, is recovered because he went into denial. No, I can't, nothing's happening to me, I can do it. He even lost his vision, you know, his whole vision went, so he had all of that. It all came back. In maybe 2 months, quite incredible. He was 47. Howard's a bit over, but even 1 year now for Howard, quite incredible, his recovery. And now the second thing I wanted to share with you, so that's one thing, mind-body connection. It's a slightly different approach to brain-body connection. You override the nervous system, you're bypassing the nervous system altogether, trying to get the mind to control the body directly, exactly like Uma Thurman, move your big toe. The signal is not going there. She's trying to get the energy to go straight to the toe or straight to the finger until it twitches. And if you want to do that, like, there's nothing wrong with us, but I still do this training. It's the same principle of martial arts. I'm trying to move, but I want to get some force in me. It's not me doing it. I have to allow the energy to sort of flow through. You feel it. It's a feeling. Now, the second thing that I talk about, and I try to help Howard and all the people, is alignment, your body structure. In terms of exercise, this is probably the most underrated training to do for your body. Everyone would do fitness, muscles, strength building, etc., etc. But body posture, alignment, is highly underrated. But I believe it's the most important thing to do in all physical training is get your posture right. the balance of your shoulders, the balance of the hips. The spine has got to be just right. Because your skeleton is designed to be in a certain way, and if you've got it off in a funny way, slightly out, now everything doesn't work quite so well. And in terms of the qi, the energy, that's got to flow nicely through your body. That's the whole idea of the energy. It's got to flow. And if your body is misaligned or crunched, it doesn't flow so well. If you can open it up to the correct structure, everything gets more efficient, energy flows better. So any type of healing will happen. So for Howard, for example, do you mind if I borrow you, Howard? If I get you to the front here. See, so of course I remember Howard from before anyway. So his posture is pretty good. But now what you've got here, if I send you side on so you can see the spine is supposed to have a natural S curve like that. So mostly people hunch a little bit. It always happens. You go forward. So I would argue the very most important exercise for anyone to do is just to straighten up your spine. Now, for a stroke patient, this becomes extremely important because you're dealing with the nervous system, that's the spine going to the brain. So if you get your spine a bit better and you get this stretch in the neck a bit better, so you get a nice connection, you're connecting the spinal column and the brain, already you're doing something that's going to help everything get together. So it's not an exercise per se, it's trying to get the alignment better. And then the next thing I do with him is check the shoulders. So if I stand you side on like that, the exercise we do is hands come up over the head and then down in front like this. So it's again a classic Tai Chi exercise. So you can see the benefit of this. We're trying to roll the shoulders. So if I let Howard do it, you do it as you're going to do it now. So you can see the right side was the stroke side, but after a year it's nearly balanced. You see, so for me, I'm not bothered about him so much building his shoulder strength. I want him to perfect this movement such that both arms are identical when they come up, say halfway here. Now, if he works, he's got to work to open up this shoulder, get this thing in the right place, the rib cage, the spine. Now it's balanced. And when you get to the top, see this one doesn't, but if he works for that extra inch, it's only an inch, but working for that extra inch is going to do a dramatic thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the posture, thanks Howard, I'll let you sit down again. The body structure is so important for the flow of energy, even the flow of electricity, the flow of blood, even blood. I mean, the blood flow goes through the joints. If your joints are sort of collapsed, the blood vessels are a little bit constricted. So if you do exercises that open and stretch you, the blood vessels also move. It allows the blood to flow a bit better. So I'm doing very simple exercises that involve relaxation, involve stretching, and involve getting the body into a better position. And then the same with the arms and legs. Whatever you can do in one, you've got to balance it with the other. So it's not so much about the hard work of an exercise, it's about mentally, even looking in a mirror. You get in a mirror and try to make sure, okay, I'm like that. I've got to just get that looking right. So it's not hard work like you would think, but it is so dramatically powerful that we can't underestimate it. So those are the two things that I would sum up most important in my way of doing this. One, make use of the relaxation, but when you relax, you've got to get the mind body to go into it, so you feel your body. And two, work on getting a better alignment. And most important is the spine. So we could try one little thing, if you don't mind doing this as well, one last one. It'll wake you up as well. Look, if you just interlock your fingers like this, put your hands up behind your head. So it's ever such a simple exercise. This is how you can stretch up your spine and also do it with your patients. So you notice, first of all, you always have a little bit of a hunch. First thing to do is just sort of stretch up. So already you can sort of lean back. You lean back into your hands. Now the thing is, when you lean back, you arch too much, your belly comes out, you've got to pull your belly in a little bit. So that will get you a bit straighter. The second thing to do is lift your shoulders up a little bit, lift the rib cage up a little bit, open the rib cage so the shoulders go, yeah, that was a good one, I can see that. It opens up the rib cage. Now when you open up the rib cage, the belly comes out, but then you've got to pull the belly in. And then once you've got that, you lean back. So like you're leaning back in a sofa, quite literally. And once you've got that, you should feel a bit of a stretch going up your spine, a nice pleasant stretch. Once you've got that, you can do a little twist to either side. Very little, careful. Feel it through your spine, all the way through a stretch. It's just a very pleasant stretch through your spine. You haven't got enough space, sorry. Well, at least it got you started. Can you feel that? Yeah, it looks good. All right, have a breather again. So that is an extremely simple exercise, spinal stretch exercise, helps you get the posture right and opens up the rib cage and the shoulders. And if you do that with deep breathing, it gets a massive amount of blood flowing through the body. And furthermore, if you're helping your patient, you will see, one shoulder is locked. It's not, like I said, it's about getting the alignment right. So if you see one shoulder's like that, you just help them lift this one up and even stretch them up a little bit, open them up. So you've done a very simple stretch, but it's a stretch for the spine, and it's a stretch for the breathing and a relaxation, and it allows the blood flow and the energy to work through it. So any questions? I mean, how are we doing for time? Well, that's not bad. I'm trying to think what else we want to do. Does that make sense, what I said? It sort of makes sense. Is that similar to what you do already? I'll be very curious to know, do you do similar things like that already? Or what do you do? You do that, spinal postures you do. Yeah. And then the posture, the other one to notice is the centre of gravity, which you must know as well then. Like I said, when you lean forward, the centre of gravity goes forward. But you could try it now as well. Look, take one step forward. If you stand up nice and tall and you rock back like you're nearly going to fall back, once you go right to the back, that's the alignment of your spine, right at the back, just before you fall and you catch yourself. In Tai Chi, they've got a thing called fall but don't fall. It's like you're falling, but you have to catch yourself. Fall but don't fall. Because when you get right at the back and you feel a nice stretch of the spine, you just can feel it. You're aligning your spine. And the other way you can think of it is like a pencil. If you have a pencil, you balance a pencil on the tip. If you can just get it balanced, it's no weight to it. When you lean forward, now you've suddenly got a weight to it and you'll fall. So you're trying to actually, when you get the alignment, you minimize your body weight. Your body weight sort of vanishes and you balance. So between relaxation, doing exercises that improve your alignment of left and right, it's a different focus because like I said, you're not trying to build the muscles so much. You're trying to get the patient to force themselves to hold the posture. And then you have to do it all the time. So whenever you do anything, check your posture. So again, with Howard, he's taken a long time to walk. So in early stages, you could still walk, you could do it, but that's not good enough. I don't want to, that's just a walk. No, that's not the end. You have to perfect the balance of both legs. Walking is very high level skill, believe it or not. It's very difficult to do, well, you guys must know that. But to perfect the skill of walking, that's a high mastery for anyone. But point is, the work that's not good enough. You have to keep working to get a perfect balance between both legs. So that is a different approach, that's what I'm saying. The attention has got to be mental. The only way you can do that is feel your body. You can't switch off and do an exercise. You have to actually engage your mind with your body when you do it. And that's what this whole training is all about. Tai Chi, QiGong, that's what they're doing. They're trying to engage the mind-body together. But don't forget, it's because they have a philosophy, a metaphysical belief. The mind is outside the body anyway. There's a mysterious energy that connects us all. That's the whole point. The Force in Star Wars, the same thing. But it's outside the brain, so it can affect the brain and affect the body directly. And don't forget, you've got the second brain, the belly. That's the last one we could do. If you hold your hands on your belly like this, you just breathe deeply, close your eyes for a second, and you're just feeling inside your belly. That's all you've got to do. You bring your mind into your belly. Now, it takes a while before you actually feel energy, but what it means is you've just got to feel an awareness inside your body. Our mind is not aware of our body. None of us, that's the whole problem. We're going around oblivious. The mind has actually got to be quite aware inside your body, aware of your feet, your hands, but more than that, if you're aware of your spine and aware of the torso inside it, you have a different feeling of your body. Your mind is inside the body, it's connecting. And I also say that's your intuition, your gut feeling. That's the gut feeling. It's literally the second brain is giving you some information. So the idea, I can relax for a second now. I don't know if you feel it, but a little warmth might build up in here. But the way they do it, they turn energy. Energy is spinning around, for example. They have energy, they'll rub the belly like that in a circle. So if you rub the belly clockwise, it helps digestion. If you rub the belly anti-clockwise, it helps, diarrhea the other way, slows it down. One speeds it up, one slows it down, goes with the digestion. But for them, it's all energy. So this is what they're doing. They're building energy in the belly. Then this energy goes straight to the body. It bypasses the brain. Otherwise, the brain has got to send the message here, then the message here goes to the muscles. So it's a lot. If I tense this, quite a lot of energy is required. Where does it come from? That's electricity in the muscles. Where does it come from? My brain is sending it there, but is it coming from my brain? That's the question. It's not coming from, it's got to come from somewhere. There's not enough. There's not enough electricity in the brain to power the muscle, but there is electricity in your body. There is. In the Eastern philosophy, they believe your kidneys operate like batteries. There is a sort of battery effect. And you can sort of see that. There's fluid in a battery is acid fluid, so there's a fluid in the kidneys, operates a bit like a battery. The kidney combined with the adrenal gland, there's something going on that operates a bit like that. And the other one, they believe the heart is more like a magnet. So if you've got a battery in the kidneys and a magnet in your heart, between that you've got electromagnetism going on. So if you harness that, you've got some energy. It's a real measurable energy. So someone's got to do some tests, you could measure this. Let's do the last one. Let's just feel this. I want you to see if you can feel the energy. If you hold your hands very close, they don't touch, fingers slightly stretched. Because you slightly stretch them, you're activating it a little bit, and then you do very small circles like this, between the palms of your hand. Don't touch. Again, concentrate. We were doing that before, concentrating on your hand, but now you concentrate on the space between your hands. You might start to feel a little resistance or a little something. It's a magnetic field, there's some magnetism. If you can feel that, you can pull them apart and push them together. You might feel a very slight resistance or an elasticity, like there is something going on. And you feel it? Anyone? So it's a real measurable thing. You can, and like I said, you could probably get a detector and see if something's happening in the space. But if you can feel it, you'll understand. So now, if you've got that energy in your hands now, let's say, for example, let's put that one hand on your elbow, say your opposite elbow. So now you've built up some energy in the hand, you put it on the elbow, it's like you use that energy to go to the elbow. So this is how you do sort of self-healing. So it's the same for a patient. If you're one side, the good side, you can use that hand to put it on that side, just to help the energy go to the dead side, as it were. So I think that's probably enough. I've said quite a lot there. Any questions? I mean, it makes sense what I said, yeah.
Do you work mostly one-to-one with?
Yeah, I don't really do anything officially. I only got my YouTube channel because I used to do a lot more. I used to teach full-time and do this.
In recent groups or like?
Yeah, proper groups with martial arts, kung fu. I used to do healing, going around and do even physiotherapy. I used to do this. But in recent years, it's just my YouTube channel. And I've got my own job. But Howard is my good friend, so we always train together anyway for nearly 10 years now. I don't know how long, 8 years. So to me, it's very interesting. Again, before the stroke and after the stroke. And in some respects, like I said, in some respects he's weaker, but in some respects he's stronger. He's learnt some very interesting lessons because, like I said, it's not so much about the muscular ability, it's about the mind-body connection. It's a totally different thing. And that's what I hope to give you that idea today. So you work, that's an idea with your patients. Relax, but let them concentrate. They've got to actually use their mind to go into the dead side and see if you notice any speeding up of recovery, if they do that. And that would be very interesting to know. Because I think that's why my friend, the other friend who recovered in 2 months, did it so fast, because immediately he refused to accept it and he was trying. No, I'm not gonna stop. And every time he had another test, he was training non-stop. But the next test, I'm gonna beat it. No, nothing's happened. So his mind was determined to go into the body, rather than you just let it go. Oh, it's happened now. I can't be bothered, and then you've given up. Now it's you guys have to work the muscles for them. They have to do it themselves. Their mind has got to do it. So you can only help them to get their mind to do it for themselves. So, thank you so much. Thanks for listening to me. Yeah, oh, sorry, questions, yes.
Howard, how have you found it?
Yeah, Howard. Let me give you the microphone, Howard.
Yeah, mind.
Yeah, let Howard have a go. Say something. Now you can hear.
Okay, my big problem was walking. I started off walking my leg abducts, and I was given exercises by the physio, and I learnt to hold this leg in. It didn't abduct. What I've taught myself based on Toby's principles. Let me, if I can just, okay, this is me walking. Now, you're all, my assumption is I look normal. I don't know what you see. This is nothing like normal walking. I've had to relearn the principle of walking. The first thing I learnt is a very simple exercise. Up, use the hips and the glutes to raise the leg. Normally, you raise the leg with the quads. Is that right? Yeah. My quads are weak, and they may always be weak as far as I know from now on. But I can raise my leg using my hips and my glutes. That didn't resolve my problems, because the problems was I'd get pain in one or both hips because, well, I had a stroke. This is essentially, what I'm teaching now is essentially part of drunken kung fu. Drunken kung fu is about falling, being able to fall in any position and catching yourself. So the first thing to do, I learnt to do, was just raise my leg like that, both legs, because you must balance the body using hips and the glutes. The second thing to do, you break the fall. This is basic drunken style kung fu. It's about the leg falling. You break the fall by, this is a vertical movement I've shown you. You introduce a horizontal movement by swaying the hips. Now, it doesn't have to be a big sway of the hips. In fact, it can be just visualization that your hips are moving from side to side is enough. So I introduced the parallel as well as the vertical breaking the fall, a horizontal breaking of the fall, and on top of that I started doing this quite simply, standing on my toes. That at first it was a few seconds and I couldn't do it without some furniture to lean on. But with practice, it grew. So the third way to break, essentially for the rest of my life, this leg is going to fall. However I walk, it's actually just falling to the ground. But by introducing 3 levels of control, the vertical, use the hips and the glutes. The horizontal, visualizing or moving the hips. And third, introducing a resilience, a spring. In the ankles, I can walk around normally, but it's not normal. It looks normal. I know from my experience over the past year, people have noticed that I was walking with difficulty. I've been looked at with sympathy as I force myself to do all this stuff. But people don't notice I'm walking now because it looks normal. Great. But it's not normal.
But also what I'll say, Howard, just quickly, is alignment. His leg may be dead, but if he lands with the correct alignment through the spine, he'll be all right. It's when you land off alignment, you're going to fall. So what he's talking about drunken style is the idea that they're drunk, always falling about, but in Kung Fu it's deceptive. But when you've got the ability of falling and catching yourself, that's to do with controlling your centre of gravity. Let's show them something, Howard. Stand up for a second. Look, let's do that. Put 1 foot forward like I'm going to push you. Do you remember, like we did that? So put your hands up. So I've got, let's do something like this here, like this way. So I push you like this. So this is alignment. So Howard has not got his strength, but if I can push quite hard, even though he's in a supposedly weakened state, as long as he gets the alignment through his spine right down to the back leg, he's not actually doing the work. There's no work being done. I can push quite hard because it's going through his spine down to the ground. If his alignment is wrong and I push him, he'll fall over. So, but the point being, the alignment is so powerful, it doesn't matter that he hasn't got any muscular strength. All he's got to do is get the alignment just right, the hips, the spine, and the foot going to the ground. So that's what we're saying. Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you so much. It's so helpful to hear about what's happening once people have finished with official kind of NHS care or whatever, to know that there are people like you who are training people to get the best kind of outcome and efficiency of walking and moving and just using different principles, different how maybe we would work. But it's just, we know very much that the resources out there are very limited for people to continue to improve. So it sounds like you've done such an amazing job, and really you've been working together beforehand, but you've got that kind of ability to understand what some of the symptoms are of stroke, and it's just really helpful to hear all about that. So thank you so much for coming to
Thank you.
speak to us.
I had a question.
Yeah.
What would the intensity be like? How many hours would it take? Sometimes is it subjective, or is there any?
Yes, subjective. So I'm only training with Howard once a week, for 45 minutes. We don't do much. It's nothing hard, you see, but like I said, it's not about hard work. It's about getting your alignment right. That's a different thing. It's the mind, but you've got to concentrate on it. So you can play it, play it by ear, depending on the patient, what they can and can't do. Someone can do more, someone can do less. But they can always do this mind, they've got to concentrate on what they're doing. And like I said, it's not so much about doing a movement, it's about trying to get your body in the right position. So that's not hard work, it's more like smart work. And then the irony is, once you've got the smart work right, then you can do the hard work. So literally, you play it by ear. Some can do more intense, some won't. See, for me, okay, I could do this, once I've got the alignment, I can do very hard work, high tension. Or I can do hardly any work, and just totally relaxed, you see. It's once you've got the alignment and the mind-body connection, then you can play with it. That's what I would say.
Do you find younger strokes recover faster, or is it the same because this is more of like?
Well, I don't have that much experience, but like the other guy I was telling you about, he was only 47, so he's younger, and he recovered, like I said, nearly. I couldn't see anything wrong with him in 2 months.
And he's 5 minutes a week? Or?
No, I didn't do anything with him. He did it all himself. I'm just telling you the story. I didn't even know he had a stroke. It was before Christmas when I last saw him. He said he had a stroke, but he'd recovered. It's on my discussion with him, what did he do, that I realised, because he just didn't give up. He was already putting his mind into his body. I think that was one of the reasons why he recovered so quickly. The moment he had a stroke, he was already fighting it. No, I'm not having a stroke. I can do it. So he couldn't move it, but by the time the ambulance came, he could already get to here. So immediately when it happened, he was starting to fight it. And he was so convinced, I'm not got it. And then they said, well, turn your hand over. No, he couldn't do that. But he'd already got that far, so really Howard is the only guy that I've had long-term experience with. But what I'm talking about is so universal. I've worked with everyone in all different situations, permanently handicapped people or any kind of illness. It's basically the same principle. But what's so interesting about the stroke is you've already got half your body relaxed, which is the training I'm doing, is relaxation. So there's something you already got there. It's like, okay, we'll accept that. Now try to relax and get your mind into it. Use that relaxation. So the good side, your relaxed side is dead, but the good side is tense. Try and relax the good side. They're both dead. It sounds quite counterintuitive, but because you relax them both, that same principle, you felt it in your hand. If their hand is dead, get them to imagine that hand. the dead side, until they, I feel something. Maybe they get a twitch. Like I was saying, you don't know. It might work quite quickly. It's just another idea to your training, what you guys already do. You might not have considered coaching them to use their mind in their body. That's probably my biggest thing, I would say. Does that answer it? Sort of, yeah.
I have a very good question.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know if there's been any research done into these methods?
That's what I was hoping you might tell me. Like I was saying, acupuncture. See, I don't know about it, but I thought you might have already used acupuncture. So acupuncture is the Eastern medicine. You put the needles in, but the idea is to get the energy to flow. So one side of your body is not working. It's going to have the energy is not flowing so well. Acupuncture helps the energy to flow. They can actually stimulate the nerves to make it twitch. So whether that is going to do something, that would be very interesting to know. But the answer is no, I don't know. There may well have been, but I don't know it. Yeah, I don't know about it. So you guys are the forefront now. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for listening to us. So that was the end of the video. I hope it made sense. As I said, please do leave me any questions or comments below. And stay tuned, I will be doing more and more about this from time to time, different ways in which this energy training can help do healing for us. Stroke is just one particular situation that requires healing, but it's the same principle for anything, any illness, any disease. Training your energy is a way of helping. It's going to the very fundamental nature of your soul, spirit, mind, body connection, and that can fix all ailments. Well, within reason, you can't regrow a leg, but you understand what I'm saying. It's one of the most effective and harmless ways you can work on yourself to improve your energy and heal your body. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.